Go.
Okay, so today we're going to be reading Sandy. Gemma and Milo sat around a campfire on the shore at dusk. They had found nothing but dunes, which are small hills of sand and desert. And Gemma decided it was best for them to stay near the mystic reed for the night. The biggest reason was there was no way to tell where the tiny ship had led them. Nearest Gemma could figure the forbidden island had somewhere on the edge of Azul Sea, and its waters were by far the most mysterious of the 8 seas. Almost all of her treasure hunting was done in the Cascade Sea and the Sparkling Sea. Occasionally she would venture out to the Mosaic Sea to island hop, but that was more for Milo than for riches. Gemma always found a reason to stop by Lunar Island while they were there. To Milo's utter delight, the Azul Sea, though, had a reputation for legend and danger. There were even rumblings of fantastical creatures, but Gemma noted never any evidence or first-hand accounts. Once they found whatever it was they were looking for, Gemma vowed to sail them right back home to Harbor Town. But first they would need to decipher another riddle. This time it had come from a bottle. Gemma held the empty bottle in her hand and read the clue on the piece of paper aloud once again. As the day rises, the cottontails run, follow their tracks by the light of sun. The fire crackled as Gemma and Milo pondered the words. Cottontails, they must be rabbits, right? Milo filled his tail in a tight ball and hopped around on all fours. Quit it, Milo. This is serious business, Gemma said with a laugh and a smile. Milo grabbed a bundle of licorice and snapped off the piece that he had felt earned for his performance. Gemma had laid out some food around the campfire that she got from the yellow knapsack that she always brought on expeditions. There was sourdough, bread, jerky, apples, oranges, and a bundle of licorice that was getting smaller by the hour. Whatever we're supposed to do next, it has to wait for morning. By the light of the sun, the riddle says. Gemma pulled out a deck of purple giant and goblin cards. They were a gift from her uncle soon after her parents sent her to stay with him. They were good for passing on the time on the sea, that he would say. Remember, the giants might be stronger, but goblins have the numbers and the smarts. Her uncle had taught her all the best combinations and tricks. His shipments taught her all the best ways to cheat. Cheating was a big part of the game as anything else, even more so when Milo was playing. He played game after game, until the stars were glowing as brightly as lightning goes by. I play a stone giant, said Gemma triumphantly. Milo looked at his deck with his tongue sticking out of his mouth, a sign of his highest level of concentration. He gave a sly, wheezing chuckle and laid down 4 goblins, 3 that had weapons and 1 that was holding a lyre, a musical instrument. He raised his hands and shook them together triumphantly. Wait a second, let me see your tail, she demanded. Milo spun around, but conveniently kept his tail hidden from view. But Gemma stood up and spotted the 4 Chalcedonian cards he was gripping behind his back. I knew it, she said. You're a goblin thief. Milo looked back up at her with the widest, most innocent yellow eyes he could muster, until a smile swept over Gemma's face involuntarily. Soon they were laughing. I don't know why I bothered playing with you, she realized. Milo stood up proudly and let out a series of serious and determined squeaks. I know, you come from a long line of cheaters, and it was your great-grandmother's wish that you carry on the tradition, Gemma translated. It was, in fact, exactly what Milo was saying. Gemma laid back onto a piece of driftwood and looked up at the moon, full in the sky. She tapped her side, and Milo nodded to accept, snuggling in next to her. What do you think it is, Milo? What's the greatest treasure in the world? Milo thought for a moment, then he hopped with a smile. He pointed to his tail with both hands and squeaked. Gemma smirked and then laid back down. It is not a gold tail ringlet. Not everyone has a tail, you know. Milo shrugged and laid back down. Gemma didn't say it, but there was more than one occasion when she had truly desperately wished she had trailed. It was hard to have a best friend with Milo's tail talents. It was a constant reminder that her rear end was inferior in all but one way, sitting in chairs. Milo had a difficult time finding a place for his tail. If a genie gave her the chance to grow one, she would have taken it. Although it would have meant finding a genie with a very specific set of powers, and then it would mean a lot of explaining. Being a human with a lemur-sized tail for the rest of her life. These are the thoughts that carried Gemma off to sleep that night. A tail-obsessed genie and a lifetime of arguments with pants makers. It wasn't the sun or Milo's snoring that woke Gemma up, but the low trampling of a stampede. The vibrations rocked her awake and caused her eyes to open through heavy blinks. A cloud of sand was approaching the camp. Wake up, Milo. It's a, I don't know what it is, Gemma yelled. Milo sat up, upright and rubbed his eyes. A piece of liquor still hung from his lips as he looked around. He was just in time to see a blur of ears and feet and tail storming into the center of their campsite. They were moving in a speedy, rigid formation. A hard and sharp turn towards the desert led them straight over the sand dunes out of sight. There was no mistaking it. These were cottontail rabbits, just as Gemma expected. But she had not expected what they found in the rabbit's wake. Milo stuffed the dangling licorice into his mouth as they stared at the bare ground with not a speck of food left.